Welcome to another episode of WADDZ and HOBBS podcast. My name's Ethan. This is John, and today we're gonna talk about Anaheim One. This is the results. This is Sunday, January 7th. Race happened last night. We're gonna give you guys some reviews and our takes on it. And John, first off, were you entertained for A1?
Barry, oh man, you you better believe it. Oh, I was going nuts last night. Honestly, from the even with the heat races, just from the start of it to the end of it, I was thrilled. What about you, Ethan?
Oh man, I mean, like I said in episode one, I'm just excited for racing to be back. I miss it. I keep forgetting how much I miss it. It just gives me looking forward to Saturday nights because I don't like football. I'm tired of football. Football's ending. Supercross is back. I had a great time. It was A1's always chaos because you just don't know who's going to be the top dog, and so it's probably one of the most exciting races of the year. I hate to say.
Oh, 100%. Actually, I was thinking about that today because someone was asking, like, if you could pick one race, what's your favorite race the whole year? It's 100%. I mean, honestly, Daytona's fun. We've been to that one. That's a big one. But 100% it's A1 because most likely everyone's healthy.
Yep.
You don't know who's the best, who's the worst yet. So you're going in the mindset that everyone can win. And I honestly, I'm having chills thinking about like last night before the race started, how excited I was. But it is like you don't know who can win, and then A1 shows you who does.
No, yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, my biggest thing is it's a fresh start. You know, Jet just came out and dominated motocross and super motocross playoffs. All those points mattered. You're going into motocross with those point standings already, in motion. Everyone's just got a fresh start. Everyone's gonna go. I want to win today. This is my turn to win.
Yeah.
If I go out there and get a top three, my confidence is gonna be there, and that transfers into the whole year. And just like guys like Hunter Lawrence, for example, I feel like his confidence is going to be chalked for this whole rest of the season. He might have some good races, but he knows that he's out of the championship already.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's the first one, like they say always. You can't win a championship on the first race, but you could certainly lose one. And Hunter's one of those guys that sadly is part of that group.
Oh yeah. Now, Ethan, before we get into all the different places and everything, I do want to ask you and the listeners that I am curious, what do you think about the earlier start time?
I love it.
Love it. Exactly. We're on the East Coast, guys. So, like, be able to watch a race at 8 o'clock, it was awesome. And I know, like, for us, I mean, you guys on the West Coast, I don't know, but I thought it was great. And then by the time that the main event started, it was dark. The fireworks were still there. So I thought it was great. And to me, it just made it that much more awesome for me.
Oh, it did, cause like even our cousin Eric, he came over and watched it, and he was all excited. He's like, "Really? It's only like 11 o'clock. This is great. Like I could go home and in bed by a reasonable time." And I'm like, "Yeah." Uh,
Oh, absolutely. For
hats
you
off
West
to.
Coasters, yeah, we would have to start at 10 and the main event's at 1. And me, I mean, I was snoring by 1 every time. So it was a great experience for us.
I know as much as we love it, I think for Anaheim one I would have been up for it, but every other race throughout the year, I would have started with the heat races, and then depending on how amped up or energized I was, I probably would just go to bed and wait till after church the next day, get some Chinese food, and watch the last bit
Man,
of the races or the whole show. So I'm
yeah.
a huge fan of watching things live because I hate being late on it, especially when I'm at church after church, looking at my phone, looking at Instagram. Oh, I gotta hurry up and hide it because I still want to watch the race and I don't want to know who won. So it's a huge, huge help for us East Coasters. So
Okay. Yeah.
so John, I guess first off, I wanted to talk to you. Top three, 450. What are your what's your take? Were you
All right.
surprised or were
Am
you
I
expecting that top three?
am I surprised? No, I am shocked. Eli Tomac. Let's be real though. I looked at his post today, and he says, "I don't just Anaheim one and me don't agree." It's true. Last year he won it. It was the first time he won it. And how long has he been doing it, Ethan? A long time,
Long
like
time.
tons of time. So honestly, like, were you that surprised that he didn't win?
Yeah, I'm
No.
surprised he wasn't going to go out there and yeah. I mean, I did
Yeah.
expect the
Am
top
I
five.
shocked that he got ninth? Yes. But I'm not shocked that he didn't win. So the top three we have Jet, Jason, Jay Sexton. I think Ethan is going to agree with me that the biggest surprise is Jason Anderson up there. However, I did mention in our pre-show that he has something to prove this year. He's used to his kid. He's used to all that. So honestly, I was rooting that he was going to get Jet. Um, Chase Sexton is my biggest surprise of the night. Honestly, I think I said in our pre-show that I didn't think Chase was going to get up there. Like I'm really proud of Chase right now, and the fact that he got a third. I have a feeling that he's going to do really good this season. I'm pumped for it because to me it proved that he was able to do that. Jet, you know what? I'm just gonna have to admit, I'm not the biggest Jet fan. I don't like it's like for me, I had to try the hardest growing up with anything I did. If it was racing, if it was ping pong, if it was anything, I had to work my butt off just to be decent at it. So the fact that Jet is just like, and he's getting a little cocky. You know what? People, I'm sure, can say, "Oh, I'm a jerk for saying it," but I think Jet's a little cocky, and I think I'm going to root against Jet. So the fact that no one really had him, but Jason was the closest, and he was only, I mean, he was 7 seconds off, but it's not bad. But yeah, for the top three, Ethan asked me about Jet, Jason, Chase. I'm not that shocked. I had Jet winning in my fantasy league, so or on my Rocky Mountain League. So yeah, there you go. But I was impressed with Jason, and I was very impressed with Chase. What do you think, Ethan?
Well, just to touch on your first point, or not your first point, your point with Jet Lawrence. Um, you're not the biggest Jet Lawrence fan, technically. I'm not either. But it's for very similar reasons, but it has nothing to do with a lot of those because one, I admit the only time I wanted to see somebody dominate was when I was really really young and had no and just loved one guy, and that was Ricky Carmichael. A lot of
Oh
other
yeah,
people want, I'm sure guys our age when I was that young cared about someone's got to beat Ricky Carmichael, but all I care is, oh, I just want Ricky Carmichael to beat everybody.
right.
But now that I'm older, I admit I like watching actual races. I like people, going back and forth. We like battles. We like, you know, having people share that slice of the pie. And the reasons I don't like Jet Lawrence are not good reasons. They're not valid reasons. I'm just simply an underdog guy. I get
Yeah.
tired.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, when you talk about him being cocky, in my opinion, he has every right to be cocky. He has earned the right to be cocky. If you go undefeated in
Oh
motocross,
yeah.
win the Supercross motocross playoffs, I'm not I don't care even if it is me. I am going to simply respect people. I don't believe in karma, but I only believe it for me, nobody else, because when I start talking smack and getting cocky, that's when I get put in the ground. Jet, on the other hand, he can talk all he wants. He's going to be number one. I hate to say it, but that's, you know, it's
Oh, and
true.
he's got the right to look at Ricky
Yeah.
Carmichael. I remember someone saying that when he was that young, he was cocky too. He got really humble at the end. But yeah, Jet's got the right to for sure.
Yeah.
But
So, I mean, that's just my thing. I just don't want to see him run away with it, and that's the only thing. If he was, um, because let's be honest, I think if he had the same personality, the same amount of cockiness, and he was like a top three, fifth place guy, we'd probably
oh, we'd be
be cheering
rooting the
for him
heck
up
out.
and down a storm. It's kind of like
Oh,
Aaron Plessinger. Like
100%.
Aaron, everyone loves Aaron, but I guarantee if he was a dominating position, I'm sure less people would like Aaron because they want to see other people win. It's just,
Oh
it's
yeah.
just how it goes. So, yeah, Jason Anderson. Was definitely a little surprised to see him up there. He was on my fantasy team, so I was a little pumped for that. Him along with Webb. Um, in terms of Chase Sexton getting on the podium, huge. Because like we said, I feel like looking at how Tomac's performance off the first race, if anyone's going to battle Jet, I think it's going to have to be Chase. And the fact that he could get on the podium and just simply be in that battle off the start was huge because you can't give him a huge lead. If we let Jet win these next few rounds and Chase, even if he gets podiums, at least he's still breathable. But the second he gets outside of that top five and Jet gets a win, it's over in my opinion. And I hate to say it that early on, but um, that's just what's going to have to happen on there. So
Now, I know we talked about Chase and Jason in our preview show, but right before, as you were watching the race, right before the main event happened, what did you actually think Jason and Chase would do?
I figured Chase was going to get a podium. J-
Yeah.
Jason,
Okay. Nice.
not Jason. I mean, shoot, yeah, I had him like ranked sixth, seventh, so I was expecting around sixth or seventh, and
Yeah.
that would have been a good day for him. Not great, but He had the speed. Um, but at the same time, when I was watching the races, I'm just looking at. I hate to say it. Jet was in cruise mode. You know, when he needed to kick it up to
Oh,
100%.
absolutely.
But you watch like Jet go through the sand section. He just looks like he's standing, balls of his feet, good form as always. And then here comes Jet and Cooper, or I'm sorry, Jason and Cooper, and I'm
Yeah,
just like they look like they are hanging it out there. And that's where I'm
and that's
like
what
the
and
second.
it's yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's making
No,
me think of motocross. And I told in the previous show I was like it's Supercross. He's a rookie, but watching him and then Ethan, I want to know what you think about this. Is when it was what was it about 15 minutes in the race, Jason got back to 1.5 or 2 seconds, and all of a sudden we were like he's coming, and then boom, Jet's gone, and I was like it's motocross all over
yeah,
again.
that's a
I'm
Carmichael
nervous.
move.
I think Jet can win 10 races now. It's
Yeah,
unfortunately it's just yeah.
you give him a good start, he's gonna win. I really, well,
Yeah, I
top
mean he
five,
didn't have
top
one
five.
mistake.
He's got. I mean, I'm still gonna probably say it's like a 70% chance he's gonna win the race, even if he gets fifth in the start. So,
Yeah. I mean, I do. I mean, now we didn't see him have to pass anybody. Jason did get him in the second turn, and then Jet gave it right back to him, and he led the whole race.
gone.
Um, I don't understand, especially being a rookie. Like in motocross, I can see because it's such a wider area. The fact that Jet's already getting hole shots like that is what concerns me. Because in motocross, he never had a bad start. So if he is already getting good starts in Supercross, that's where it's dangerous. Where I think Jet might not win is if he got like a sixth place start and Webb, Tomac, and them are in front of him. But I mean, if he gets good starts, I don't see how he gets stopped.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just gonna be crazy. Hopefully, some people can figure it out. But moving on here. Obviously, other than Jet and everything, since we just talked a lot about him, who was the most surprising to you in a positive manner? So in terms of the surprising rider, beat your expectations. Who do you got?
Honestly, I got two. Um, I have Dylan in my fantasy league, and I got him because I think he could do good. But for being on a privateer team, technically privateer team,
Yeah,
you're fifth. Like that's huge. Like,
yeah,
and
huge.
not. I mean, yeah, Ken wrecked, Malcolm wrecked, Eli Tomac. I don't know what happened to him, but yeah, they had bad races. But Dylan, I mean, a fifth for Dylan is huge. Like that was a big time, and I think that's a win for Dylan. And then Aaron Plessinger, it's so funny because he's like the silent assassin. No, everyone talks about him because they love him. They love that he's just fun and outgoing. But like he got fourth in 450 Supercross. Fourth doesn't mean much, but to Aaron, that's huge. Like
Yeah,
to me, I think that was the
especially in
biggest one of the
A1.
night. Yeah,
A1
what do you think?
especially.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron and Dylan, would you agree those are probably the biggest like underdogs of the night?
Yeah, looking at it, definitely. Because like I said, for guys like that who want to get like a good finishing, they're not going to win the championship. Sorry, I don't care. They're not going to win the championship.
No, I agree.
But if a couple guys potentially ride a couple bad races and or potentially get hurt, I could see both of them battling for third, second or third in the championship. Um,
Yeah.
it's possible. So for them to finish fourth and fifth uh, for the evening, definitely really really great, strong, unexpected start for them. Um,
Oh, and then now you do have Cooper that wrecked, and we'll talk about that. That would still put Aaron at fifth and Dylan at sixth, but that's still amazing. Cooper's the only one that wrecked out. I mean that like other than that, they still beat Justin Barstow, they beat Cooper, they beat Tomac, they get Roxon, Malcolm, Adam Citarello, Prado. I mean they just did like they killed it. I think they couldn't if they're upset at all, there's something's wrong with them.
yeah, you know why you said it, Jorge Prado. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and talk with him. I forget what I said in our previous show, but I think 13th is what I would expect. I thought he'd get a top 10. However, he is the MXGP champion. All he does is motocross. All he does. Um, I for the listeners here, I talked to Ethan the other day, and he did Supercross at like a local thing, and it's different. Like it's completely different what you're used to. So for him to be motocross all out never doing whoops and all that, and then just jumping on and doing it. I'm proud of him. I mean, 13th, he still beat Justin Hill, he beat Drake, Dean Wilson, McElrath. He still beat riders that's
Been
all they
doing it
do.
for
A lot of
years.
these guys, yeah, I mean, Ethan, you think about it, Cade Clayston, a lot of these guys, they don't even do outdoors. All they do is Supercross. So I'm proud of him, and I think with his result, even said I listened to an interview of him after the race. He says he knows what he needs to work on now.
Yeah.
So I think next race, I bet you a top 10. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like for the last two races, yeah, I was a little unexpected, but I'll be honest. As soon as I started watching, I'm like, dude, I'm putting a little too much pressure on this guy. I just think MXGP, this guy is an animal. He's going to be in the top five. Like obviously I didn't think that fast, but I was like, oh man, he's got the skill and talent to be in top five. That still stands. He still has the skill and talent to be top five here, but it's a different animal. Supercross is a different animal. These guys have been doing it
Oh
for
yeah,
years, testing. He probably doesn't even. The big thing for me is like I get picky when you change my suspension like a few clicks, and these guys need to have so much testing in Supercross suspension. That was a learning curve. He got 13th. He's gonna get better than 13th in round two. He's gonna get better
yep.
than whatever he got in round two, round three. So and
Okay,
hopefully
will he get a top five in the next in the next two rounds? Will he get a top five? Yes or no?
looking at the rest of the competition, I'm gonna have to go with no.
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 What's his best finish in the next two races?
Seventh or eighth.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So, hey, good for him. Hopefully he comes back next year and, gives everyone a run for their money. He's going to have the experience, going to at least have an idea of what he needs to work on, and that'll be pretty good. So, we talked about who was surprisingly good. Now, let's talk about the disappointments. I mean, I feel like we both know who's going to be the biggest disappointment here. But I would like to at least have a take on it when you're done, so I'll let you start.
Okay, honestly, I mean, we all know here, everybody that's listening to, what do you think? Eli Tomac. The reason why I have Eli Tomac is he beat Ken Roxon and Malcolm Stewart. Ken Roxon and Malcolm went down the first turn. Um, I saw Ken post on his Instagram today that his bars and his bike was just completely mangled.
What, in
I
his heat
can't
race?
imagine. What's that?
Heat race or the main?
Ken Roxon in the remain. He
In the
went
main?
down
Okay.
hard. Yeah. You have to look at his post.
I didn't, yeah.
And you'll see too, if you want to, while I'm talking, look at it. But he actually gets sucked up by Malcolm's bike, and like the tire like
Okay.
rips his butt. Actually, pretty good. But I think about it, the fact that he was able to jump up to 10th after doing that is pretty impressive. He even had to go into the mechanics area. So to me, Ken Roxton, yeah, no one was expecting 10th, but he also went through adversity, went through the wreck. Eli Tomac, I don't think he went through anything. I'll have to look, but I don't. Ethan, did you see him wreck at all? I don't think so. When I
No,
saw no wreck,
I think A1 for him. I always talk highly of Tomek and his mental stability. I think this one was just a mental day. Like, hey, you know what? Last time I was on a track behind a gate, I had a freak accident.
for
Let's survive this one. Let's see how in shape I am. He's only been on the bike since October, which is enough time, but at the same time, it would be nice to have a little bit more at that professional level. So I think he's going to improve every round as well. My hope and question is, I just hope he's not going to be too far behind Jet by the time he starts picking it up.
yeah, and I'm nervous about that too because yeah, he admitted he did bad, but he also has good races. But to me, I was watching, he wasn't passing anyone. If anything, I think he went back a little bit, or either way, he stayed around that area.
Yeah.
So, like, I just don't know if he could give it. I am a little concerned with Eli Tomac 100%. With Ken, I'm still pumped. Malcolm, I'm still pretty pumped. Malcolm got lapped, unfortunately, but
He did go
he's
down as
still,
well, so
yeah, he went down. And then honestly, so for the under the radar, and then it's the courts all yours, Ethan. I'm a little disappointed with Justin Hill. Yes, look at everybody that Justin Hill didn't beat. Ton of people, but last year he got eighth in points. I would have thought he would have fought a
but
little
how
bit
many people
harder, but
got hurt?
hey, True.
How
Thank
many
you.
people
Yeah,
got hurt?
exactly. That's what this podcast is about. We're calling out the truth here, guys. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously with that, but
Justin's phenomenal,
yeah,
but
you're
everyone's
right.
healthy right now, and when everyone's
No,
healthy, he's going to be a top 15 guy, and then when everyone's
yeah,
not healthy, his brother's going to be in the mains, and he's going to be getting top 10s.
that is true. And look, he still beat Derek. He still beat Dean. He still beat Shane and Kyle. Yeah.
He made the
So
main.
yeah, I still think Justin
Phenomenal.
could have done a little better, but either way, that's honestly not a bad race for him. Before we go on, what would you agree with me? Who was your most disappointment?
Well, you kind of forgot him in my opinion, and I'm surprised you didn't say him first. The biggest disappointment of the night was not only the other Lawrence brother, the Lawrence Shadow, Hunter Lawrence, did not make the main event. I was very disappointed, and at the same time, I honestly, truly felt bad. I want him to win more than I want his brother to win. Underdog story, like I said. If I'm older brother, I'm going to want to beat him. I know they hide it well, but I don't care. He deep down wants to win and beat his brother. Friendly competition, of
I
course.
wasn't surprised.
You weren't surprised? I was just surprised. I mean, biggest disappointment, he didn't make the main. That's the disappointing part. If he made the main and got 10th, I would have been like, meh, yeah, he could do better. But the fact that you are a factory bike and you didn't put it in the main, ooh. I know Honda's
It,
thinking, man, I knew we should have kept Sexton.
I
But no, I
just,
don't
I mean,
know.
I did say it in a preview show, Ethan, and I'm obviously I'm joking. Like it does stink he didn't make it in the main, and he had a bad wreck. He wasn't feeling good, but I did say in a preview show that he struggles. Like he won 250s last year, but he has bad races.
He
Look at
does.
SMX. Hayden Deegan won the SMX series without winning a race. I mean, he obviously did, but like Hunter just struggled. He has great races, he has bad races, and he had a bad race. However, I still think Hunter can come back and end up doing a top 10, maybe even a top 5 in the championship. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the thing that the breakdown I noticed, especially in the LCQ, he got a bad start. He choked it a little bit, which I'm not putting too much on it. Yeah, you got to be able to jump the gun, especially with that factory bike. Had a bad gate pick, but it wasn't that bothered me. It was when he got to the last lap. He hit the white flag and he's in fifth. He made like two or three mistakes back to back to back in three different turns. And I just seen in his body posture, he gave up. His brain gave up for guess how many seconds? I think he gave up for two. 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds he gave up. But then he got mad. And then he cranked it. Next thing you know, who was it? Was it Clayson? I'm trying to remember who got that. Yeah, I think it was Cade Clayson. Trying to remember his number. But we'll say it's Clayson. The guy who beat him right in front for the last qualifying spot. He got mad and he reeled him right back in at the last turn. He had an opportunity, and if he didn't give up for that last little millisecond, for that 1 2 seconds I was talking about, the first quarter of that last lap, could have had it. Could have been in the main with his brother and everybody else where he belongs. It just came down to mental weakness, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree 100% with that because I mean, these guys are the elite of the elite. The fact that a privateer, I mean, Freddie's basically a privateer, got in before him. Yeah, it's not good. However, I do think he'll rebound.
Who, Freddie Norton or Hunter Lawrence or both?
Hunter Lawrence. No,
Yeah,
I was comparing Hunter to
yeah,
Freddie,
yeah.
and I think Hunter will rebound and still do good.
He'll rebound for sure. He's gonna get up there. He'll be all right.
Yeah. Before we go to 250s, I do real fast want to talk about the obvious of Cooper Webb. That battle. I thought I was actually
He
getting
was faster.
irritated because I was waiting for him to pass Jay. I thought Cooper was going to pass Jason and then attack to Jet. And the whole race, that's what I wanted.
Yeah,
I was mad. I mean, Cooper got Jason, and Jason's dirty and Cooper's dirty. Cooper's not
they're
super
rough. They're
dirty,
tough.
but they're rough. They're tough.
Not
Jason
dirty.
will
Tough.
be dirty.
Yeah.
Um, Cooper
Yeah, he
got
can be.
Jason. Jason gave him back, and then Cooper wrecked. Bummer, because I was cheering for Cooper. I
Yeah.
am excited now to see that Cooper will do well this year. I think he's going to be contender. What do you think?
Yeah, I think. right now. I feel like we got at least before I really put a staple on this comment, but I think he's gonna have to take Yamaha to the top right now. I don't know where
Oh,
Tomac's
100%.
gonna be, but the fact that
Yeah.
he stepped up, he beat both of our expectations. I think I was actually watching practice and qualifying, and dude, he gave Jet for a run for his money. And we all know one thing: Cooper does not do good in qualifiers, and he did. He was second or third. I think Sexton may have beat him at the last second, but he's usually like a top 8 guy in qualifying and then goes and wins the main. He was only off by milliseconds between Jet and Chase, so I think it was huge, unexpected, well performance by Cooper Webb. And all I gotta say was I was a little slightly disappointed. I ended up with him in fantasy, and he just shut me right up right in A1. So I'm all of a sudden really happy that I have him.
Yeah.
So
Oh, 100%. I do. I have good faith in Cooper.
yeah. So, last question before we move on too much. One, real quick update. Do you think Jet's going to run away with it? And second, how do you expect all the other top guys to beat Jet? What are your, um, or what do they call it? The keys to the race. What are your keys to
Oh, yeah.
beating Jet Lawrence? You could go into detail,
Okay.
please, because I don't want to basic get a better start. Give me some details.
No, honestly, I'm glad you asked that. Okay, originally, I would say a few months ago, I thought Jet was not going to do good in Supercross. I was like, it's just a whole new thing, and I wasn't confident. Recently, I realized he's going to do good. After watching A1, and how many times do you hear, Ethan, like people say, don't take A1 for granted? Like, don't, oh, everything's not on A1. I think Jet can
I know
take
where you're
away and
leading
run
with
with it.
this.
Yeah, I think he can.
Yeah,
With motocross, we said, oh, I don't think he's going to. People are going to be there. He won the first race. He won the second moto. And then we were like, oh, well, it was the first. And then he kept on doing it, and he won every single race. I'm afraid, not afraid, but I think now Jet could win. I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I said earlier, 10 of the 17 races, if not more. And I think,
more.
and you joked about not saying that the starts. I know.
It'll be more. It'll probably be more.
We got to play the world's tiniest violin. Um, I do, as you just said, don't say starts, but I really do think to beat Jet is they have to outstart him because with motocross, I said it earlier, he got starts and just did it. He got the whole shot and he just did the whole race,
You could ride
and
80,
he
90
just
percent.
stayed
Yep.
100%. Ethan, yes, they've got, and I know this sounds bad, but people like Jason and Cooper and Justin, they've got to ride dirty with him. They've got to get in his head because right now he thinks he's elite. He knows he's elite,
Thinks he's untouchable.
and he's untouchable. And they do. They have to ride a little dirty with him and get him scared. And other than that, if he keeps on getting these top, like he got the whole, basically got the whole shot in this one. He didn't, but like he passed right away and got around Jason. But if he gets these top five starts, I think he can pass these guys no problem because of how smart he is.
Yeah. I don't know. I think yeah, you're right. They got to be able to ride a little rough with him. And I said that in my head while I was watching the race. But then I also said, well, if you're gonna ride rough with him, you gotta catch him first. And that's just a big problem. You know, Vince Freezy, for example, you can't, you're not gonna get freezed if you start in front of him and he can't catch you. So
Yeah.
I don't want to like doom and gloom all the other riders, but um, I really think yeah, you got to start riding a little dirty, but at the same time, they're not going to want to because if they clean out the prized possession of Jet Lawrence, everyone the crowd all of a sudden they're a crowd hate the crowd hates them, and you're not going to want
Oh
that
yeah.
either. You don't want to lose fans, but at the same time, they are all in for a tough position. I hope they can figure it out. I just want to, know hopefully one day I can figure out whatever Jet's starting to eat for breakfast because I don't know how you could be so consistent. I mean, consistency is key. Dungy had consistency. That's why he's the champion. But what I don't understand is how is he that consistent? How does he pull it off?
It's and for how
It's
young he is,
sick.
it's crazy.
It's
It
sickening.
really is. I was thinking about that. Ethan, what you just said, it reminds me of, you have to think what's going through Jason's and Cooper's mind is everyone loves Jet. I don't know what it is. These younger generations, these kids, everyone loves Jet. So if they do get dirty, they're gonna be mad. Look
Yeah.
what do you remember when Dylan Francis took out Craig?
Oh yeah.
You remember the booze? And these guys are thinking that. They know that Jet is just an idol to them. So
Yeah.
you are
Especially the
thinking
younger
you don't want to,
generation too. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. But people don't mind taking out Justin Barcia because they know he's dirty like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. If Jason Anderson takes out Barsha bang bars, everyone's gonna love it.
yeah,
This is great.
oh
But
yeah,
if Jet and Anderson are doing the same thing, all of a sudden everyone's gonna hate Anderson.
yeah, and
It's just
he's
the truth.
probably thinking that. But Ethan, I love what you mentioned. The fact that they have to catch him. They could exactly. No one could do it. They didn't even get close, and it is concerning. When I saw it when the gates dropped, I said, please don't let Jet get the whole shot or get a, and he did, and
And
I
then
knew it was
you're
over. I
like,
really
it's
did.
over, done. See ya.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's
Open up the
frustrating.
chip bag. Let's eat up all these chips and go to bed.
Yeah, so I'll give my little take on it before we move on here to the 250 class. But dude, I mean, in my own races, there's a couple guys I race against, and man, they frustrate me because I could be riding really really good, and only when I'm riding the best of my ability, and I see them right there, it's the only time I could ever like just get close to them. But when I'm just like a hair off, they're gone, and I want to ride with them. I want to jam with them. I want to see what they're doing. I want to see what kind of lines they hit, but I gotta catch them first. And I gotta admit, when you can't catch them, it's mentally demoting. And I'm just hoping somebody. All it takes is one rider in this field to figure out how to catch him, figure out how to be on his rear wheel, to at least it'll give everybody else hope, and that's what's gonna make this season closer. It just takes one guy to beat him. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping. Hopefully it happens
And,
within the first 3 rounds.
and right now, I don't know who can do it because obviously Jason can't because he started behind him, so it's proof that he can't
He
do
did
it.
have to defend Cooper. We'll give him that. He did have to defend Cooper a little
Yeah,
bit,
and then Cooper. I
and
do
Cooper was
think what
faster
I'm curious is when Kenny gets a good start and when
and
Tomac
Sexton.
just obviously struggled. Yeah, and Sexton. I think Sexton give him his run for his money because with motocross, you can't like take someone out. You can, but not really. But with Supercross, you can take someone out. So
Yeah,
Sexton or Kenny or Cooper gets a good start, they could take him out
or
and win a race.
at least just
Give him a wheel.
take some
Yeah,
take some lines away, make it hard,
yeah.
doable.
And Jason just couldn't get to that point. He's got close, but he never did.
All right, moving on to 50 top three. Let's see. We had Hampshire, Jordan Smith, Levi Kitchen. Who's meant to be there? Who's a surprise out of those three?
All right, I think you'd agree. Our surprise is Jordan Smith, but it's not a surprise. Um, and then our surprise that's not on there is Joe Shimoda. We all thought he was going to win. My other surprise is Max Volan, dude. He killed it.
Killed it.
Won a heat, won the heat, and then he came back, passed them, got into third, passed his teammate Levi. I'm proud. I think the
Mind blown.
MVP of the night is Max Volan. I'm pumped to see. I think he's going to get a top three this year
Mind
for
blown.
sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was absolutely gassed for him. But yeah, well, I'll stick in the top three for now. Hampshire, um, he knows that he was handicapped to Jet Lawrence last year. The fact that he just blew everyone out of the water that race, it's gonna be hard to beat him. Same thing with Jet. Same thing with RJ. He is the guy to beat. He is gonna run away with his championship. I think. As long as he stays healthy, gets these decent top five starts. He's not going to win every race. There's going to be guys that are going to battle with him, but I don't think there's. I feel like I can clearly look on RJ's face. He is happy. He is now realizing Jet's gone. It's my time. I am the next guy in line. I have the experience. I have the bike. I have everything. Everything. It's
Or
kind of
he's
like Craig.
confident.
It's kind of like Christian Craig too. I don't think RJ is really like the top dude. I really don't. But Craig, I don't think Christian Craig was either. But Christian Craig, you could just tell the stars were aligning for Christian Craig, and when he won the championship. What was it? 2 years ago? 2 years ago now, I think. in
Yeah, those cheers.
the
Yeah.
West.
And I think Ethan, why I'm so on RJ train right now is because last year, okay, what do they say? RJ's he crashes all because he rides over his head. Last year he had to go against Jet, and obviously Jet is unreal. This year he can ride normal. So that's why I'm afraid that RJ is going to absolutely get the championship. I do think he's not going to win every race. I agree with you. There's no way because he does still crash. He still goes over it. But when he doesn't feel pressure, I think he's going to win. Now, if Levi's having a good race, Joe's having a good race, or Jordan, and they're pressuring him, I think that's when he's going to lose because I think he could wreck because he rides over his head.
Yeah, but I
Other than
think he's
that,
got the age. He's got the age and the experience, and the people
yeah,
breathing down his neck, going, "Hey, you when you have the points lead, which he does, if guys like we'll even say Shimoda who got fourth, if Shimoda's like rubbing up your back tire, hey, you know what? If you gotta let him go and just follow him and just ride your race, take the point, you take the red plate again next week. I think he's smart. He's just gonna ride. He's gonna ride slow when he needs to, and he's gonna ride fast when he needs to. Um, the only way, like you said, to beat him is to be a Jet Lawrence, be way too fast to where he can't handle it. And I don't think there's anyone in there that is clearly Jet Lawrence that much faster than RJ Hampshire. So good for
no,
him.
I think his worst enemy will be getting a bad start because when he will try too hard to get to the top, that's when he could mess up. If he gets
Yeah,
a good start, I think it's his.
yeah, no, absolutely. Um, so yeah, Jordan Smith surprised to be up there. Really good. He looked good. Good for him. Kitchen, I expect him to be in the top three. I really did.
Yeah, he got the whole shot, so it was a little upsetting for me.
Yeah.
But
Still, it's. I think he did all right. Now, in terms of surprising, I think you were saying you were a little disappointed in Joe. I personally wasn't. Yeah, he needs to fix his starts, but Joe Shimoda he was a silent killer like he is all the time. Gets a bad start. Next thing you know, race is heading towards an end, and all you see is, wait a second, Joe, top five? Where'd he come from? I don't know. He battled his way through the pack. He needs to get a good start, and I think he's going to be battling up with those guys in the front.
do you remember how far back was he on the first lap?
It's a
Was
good
he
question.
really far back there?
He was. I want to say he was. Part of my memory says 17th, but the other part of me says 11th, so
Yeah.
that's a horrible gap.
Either
So
way, he was far back there.
he definitely, yeah. I don't think I think he was at 11th though. If I have to like say the
Okay. Hey,
farthest.
that's impressive. And then we also talk about Max. Super impressive. I'm stoked on him. And then who else? I'm a new fan. Julian Bomir. I don't know if I said that right, but dude, we didn't think
They've been calling him
anything of him.
Juju, I
He's
think. So Juju's easy.
Juju. Juju. He is 17 years old, and he
Never even heard of
looked
him.
good. Yeah, I mean, besides Supercross, what do they call it? The futures.
Yeah.
I think he won one.
You think?
Dude, he looked good. He looked legit, and he is a rookie at 17 years old.
Yeah. No,
Very
phenomenal.
impressed. I can't wait to see what he does. I mean, the way he rode, he's got. I think I see podiums coming up.
Oh yeah. The way he rode the first quarter, almost half the race, he was up there with their speed. He's there,
Yeah. Oh,
but his
absolutely.
the rookie experience of he does 15-minute races at the practice track all the time. He thinks he's in shape, but as the race comes around, he's like, okay, this racing in front of all these fans, it threw me off.
Oh, and his fastest lap time was the second fastest of the night. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
dude, I
impressed.
think I think when I was watching practice, qualifier one, he was like fifth overall, like with the 450
Yeah.
guys and everything.
Well, RJ's fastest lap time of the night in the main was 102.8, and Juju's was 103.298, and that was the second fastest, right behind Levi Kitchens. Actually, behind Jordan Smith. But yeah, I mean, he killed it. Um, and then doing speed rounds here, Garrett Marchbanks got exactly what Garrett Marchbanks I thought would get, seventh place. I think he could
Yeah,
have got a fifth. I'm not surprised, but fifth I thought. My disappointment of the night is Ryder D. the fact that Mitchell Oldenburg got completely last place start because he hit the gate
Yeah, I
and
forgot about that.
caught up to eight. Yeah, I remember that. That was like the main thing the screen had it on at the race.
Yeah.
Boom. Um, but Rider D, dude, you're a factory rider. You've done it so long. Ever since you were a kid, you were riding nonstop. He should have done. I know he's a rookie, Ethan. I'm sorry, man. I know I'm being. Hey, you know when people are critique someone like, "Why don't you go out there and do it?" I can't do anything those boys can do, you know.
Well,
But I was expecting a little more from Rider
to
D.
cut your
But
point,
hey, 10.
I just felt like I could be completely wrong on this, but I felt like he has higher expectations than Julian Balmier. I
Oh
felt like,
yeah,
if anything, I felt like if I had to guess, those two would have been flip flopped. So
100%.
I feel like
Ethan with
that's where the
Loretta's.
disappointment comes in. I felt like we
Yeah,
had more expectations for Ryder and not so much for Juju. I think that's kind
I
of
agree.
where it's coming from because,
Yeah,
everyone comes up to the big show differently.
and that is true. And what's hard is all these guys that go to Loretta, like Juju. No one knew of him. I guess he did Loretta's, but he's never had good result. And Justin Cooper was one of those people too that no one really heard of. So the fact that Ryder D was just such a big name, he just dominated as in minis. I think I hope he gets it. I just hope eventually he jumps on and understands and gets better. But we'll see. I mean, we don't know, but overall, I'm not that shocked of 250s. That's around what I thought. We obviously thought Joe Shimoda would be up there, but he's still, like Ethan said, yeah, fourth place. It's not bad.
Yeah, no,
Any
I know.
surprise and big surprise to 250s, Ethan?
Yeah, Juju, he
Ethan?
said. Uh, I was
Oh,
also a
Nate
little upset
Thrasher,
with.
that stunk. I thought Nate Thrasher would have got a top five easily.
Well, he did make a crash, and he did. He was one of the ones who did the same crash as Cooper Webb.
What happened to Talon?
I do not know.
Or did he just struggle that bad?
I won't.
Yeah,
I
eight
won't make a
fights.
guaranteed answer, but I think he just struggled. But I don't remember the TV, let alone
We'll
the
keep an
cameras
eye
ever
on
even
him,
being on.
guys. Because
So
obviously, all of us want to, cheer on the factory riders, but we'll keep an eye on Talon next week and see how he does. But
yeah, I mean the other person I felt really bad for was Nicoletti because he looked pretty darn
yeah,
good in his heat race. His heat
yeah,
race, he looked phenomenal, and I was just sitting there like gut wrenched when I was seeing his bike on the side. I don't even remember what they said. I didn't even care what they said. Like he was saying, "Oh, this happened with the bike." I'm like, dude, that just, I don't know, that sucked. Like, that's a
yeah.
paycheck for him. That's a big paycheck that is gone just from that. But
Oh yeah.
it's
And
racing.
I
Things
love
happen.
how positive he was. People
Yeah,
joke about how
negative
negative
he
Phil
is,
is. Oh, he
but he
is.
was.
He can be. I mean, filthy Phil. Dude, his interview afterwards, I was like, "Go, Phil." I mean, I've always liked Phil, but he's gone way up my list. He says it happens. I
Yeah,
love it. I mean,
it does.
shout out to Phil Nicoletti. To me, he was the highlight of just like the rider of the night of just working hard. And even when the mechanics, live TV was filming them the whole time, did Phil ever look mean or say anything
It looked
cussing
like
out?
he was trying to
No.
help his mechanics. One, he
Yeah,
probably wasn't doing anything,
I love
but at
it.
least he wasn't throwing stuff around like some guys do. I mean,
Oh, dude. Phil, I know you're not listening to this, but if you were, class act, man.
yeah,
Night MVP of the night. Good job, bud.
I
I'm real
know it
proud of you.
happens. He just was like, "All right, guys, hopefully this bike gets going." But
Yeah.
he didn't blame anybody because he knows. He's like, "Look, it happens." And the thing is, when if I was the only person, if I was in their shoes, would be throwing a tantrum and throwing wrenches around. It would just be if I was Hunter Lawrence. That'd be the only. I won't. We won't dig back into him again for the night. But I admit, if I am a factory guy, my first race in Anaheim One, I choke and don't get in the main. I'm probably gonna go back and pout. I'll probably be a little
Oh,
pouty.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, Ethan, to wrap things up, I want to hear your highlight of the night and bummer of the night.
well, I'll start with the bummer because it's fresh in my head. Obviously, Phil. and Hunter Lawrence. It really was. I know we just talked about it, but that is the bummer of my night. I really felt, especially with Hunter, I really felt a little sick to my stomach a little bit watching him not make it. So that was a bummer. Highlight. I'm gonna have to honestly go with Max Voland. I think the highlight of my night was how well Max Voland did. Why am I specifically targeting Max Voland? Because he is on my fantasy team, and I honestly did not have that much hopes for him. And I was just surprised that he was one finished in the top five, two looked phenomenal as heat race. I'm like, you're telling me this guy's figured it out? Is he liking that Cowie?
Yeah.
That was my highlight of the night. What about you?
Okay, my bummer of the night was Cooper Webb wrecking. Dude, I got so pumped. I thought he was gonna get Jason, and then when he wasn't gonna get Jason, I thought he could contend to get Jet. So that was my bummer. I was like, dang nabbit. So kind of bummed that. And then my highlight of the night, oh man, dude, there were so many good ones, but honestly, probably would be Sexton. I just didn't think I thought he was going to struggle, and I liked the fact that he was happy afterwards. All of us, all the fans, are tired of these kids getting up on the podium and complaining when they get a podium. You know, the fact that that he got up there and was excited. Hey, man, hats off to you, bud. I'm excited. You know, like, and we'll see it in East Coast, but like I always think that McAdoo's, even though he's on my fantasy team, McAdoo's podiums are always just so boring. Oh, we got to do better. Oh, just the bike. I like that Chase got up there. He's done a million interviews, and he was like, "Guys, I'm excited. Like, this is great for me." Give it to Chase Sexton.
Yeah,
I'm pumped. Yep.
yeah. So yeah, to end this show, man, I just all I feel like for I'm speaking for myself, for you, and the fans. I just hope someone can beat Jet quick because I do not want to watch a season of ooh who's gonna get second tonight. You know, I really nobody wants that. You know, unless you're an absolute diehard Jet fan, and you know, I am. I think he's a great guy, but at the end of the day, us humans, our human nature is going to be attracted to the underdogs. And
Yep.
if Jet wins the championship, I'm going to be happy for him. I just hope someone makes him work for it. So that's my take. Hopefully that starts changing it. Any other closing statements for you, John?
No, just think it was a great race. I can't wait for San Francisco on Saturday. Guys, make sure to tune in to our preview show on Friday. We'll do for that one. Just thinking how everything's going to go. And that will be, yeah, I guess that's Saturday at 8:30. But other than that, I think it was great, and just hope you guys tune in to listen on Friday. I think I'm excited for San Francisco. I think it's gonna be good, and we'll talk about that later.
Yep, sounds good. Hopefully, we'll get some more content. Make sure you guys do like it, comment. You know, we're just doing this for fun, but if you guys actually enjoy our show and think that we actually know what we were talking about, please let us know, and then we'll try and
Yeah,
keep it
let
up.
us know because we'll do go harder. We'll make another channel and pursue it even more. So let us know.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next weekend in San Francisco.